Hi, my name is Ashley Graham and I'm an elementary physical education teacher. The comprehension strategy that I am going to discuss today is the use of graphic organizers. And this was a little bit of a difficult comprehension strategy in the physical education setting, obviously because we're not reading text all the time or incorporating literacy each and every day. Although we do incorporate it, it just doesn't happen as frequently as maybe in an academic setting such as language arts or social studies. With that being said, I did complete a jump rope unit this past week with our first grade students, and we did implement graphic organizers out of the 4 out of 5 days of this week. And the activity we completed to use, or for me to implement graphic organizers, was jump roping. And a lot of the text that we talked about and had actually the students read aloud was from this book, Awesome Jump Rope Activities by Mark Sutherland and Cliff Carnes. There's great jump rope activities for all age levels, extremely developmentally appropriate. So this was kind of our guide to incorporating graphic organizers. And I say our guide and my co-teacher and I. So first we actually had the students, we read through 4 pages throughout the week, throughout all 4 days. We read through 4 different pages of jump roping tricks and jump roping activities and what each activity is. Because with first grade students, to be honest, they're just learning how to jump rope and how to keep a rhythm and a beat with a jump rope. So we wanted to talk through how to jump rope and kind of the language used when jump roping and what forward jump means and what backward jump means and what 1 foot or 2 feet, what that would look like and what that would mean. So over here, I'm just going to show you 4 posters that we actually made, but the sheets on the posters are straight from the book. And we read these aloud to the students and they followed along. Some students were called on to also read. So the first one, and we call it the Basic Club in first grade. The first one was how to jog in place with your jump rope. What moving on means, and then you'll see that it explains it, what hot peppers means, and what consecutive jump means, and just really talking through that language of what the word consecutive means, because some students did not understand what that word meant. Over here we have forward jumps, and actually this is where we started with a forward single bounce. Then we have forward single bounce on just your right foot, and we talk about what hopping looks like and what the difference between hopping and jumping, so it's a great visual for the students. And then lastly, it's just the left foot and a forward jump. So just talking through, again, that language and the little descriptors for the students to understand it. And it was just snippets of information because, again, they're just in first grade, so it was just nice and short handouts for them. And then we went on and what moving forward jump is. So it'd be obviously moving forward with your body, moving to your right, moving to your left, and then backwards jump, which was one of the more difficult tasks for first grade students. And then lastly, over here, we went into the backward jump and what it would look like: single bounce, backward jump on the right foot, backward jump on the left foot, and then just moving backwards. Again, you see these and you might think, wow, can a 6-year-old really do that? But this is a great activity also for differentiation because so many students are at so many different levels at that age and obviously throughout their elementary years. So especially in physical education, it's great that the kids can move at their own pace. And you'll see that through the use of my graphic organizers. The students were able to work at their own pace. So as we know and has been learned throughout the text, is that the graphic organizer, what it is really used for is just to enhance the content or enhance the text that you talk about or the literacy or the book that you're reading. That's what a graphic organizer is used for. Typically, we see graphic organizers used maybe in science, like a Venn diagram or the periodic table, things of that nature. But in physical education on Monday, when I completed this with my first grade students, I got it out of this book, like I mentioned, this graphic organizer. The first one was just a simple coloring sheet where the students, each task is in each of the 12 boxes, and after we went through each task, the students were transferring what they had learned and read about forward jump. So what does that mean? Okay, so they look at the diagram or the organizer that's laid out for them. Forward jump. Okay, so they have to critically think, they have to think back to what that exactly means, and then they have to go out and accomplish that task. Okay, so in physical education, obviously an activity-based class, so the students put their paper, and actually they had 2 crayons to choose from, and here's an example. So they put their piece of paper next to them, they're scattered throughout the gym, and they completed the forward jump. If they had any questions, as you can see, the tape is still on these posters. They were taped around the wall, and they were able to go up to individually the posters themselves and read through it again if they had any questions, or obviously they could ask a teacher. So then once they completed 10 consecutive rope turns without missing, they got to color in that box. So this student, Juliana, did a really nice job. She got all the way to level 10 on the very first day on Monday. You can see as she moved on, she switched her colors. Obviously, little kids like to do that. She went on to forward with her right foot. So that's, thinking in her brain what forward jump means and right foot. And for us as adults, it's very easy, but some students get very confused on how to hold the jump rope and what forward actually means, and feeling that movement and understanding that movement. So this was just a way to organize what they had learned. So these were the main vocabulary words throughout the jump rope being the beginning of the unit, and we read about them and we talked through them and we showed demonstrations, and then they organized them obviously by just coloring and switching colors and moving at their own pace, which, like I said, was a great differentiation activity. Later in the week, we moved on from just these basic club tricks to, as you see, short rope tricks, and it gets a little more complicated, and there's more squares and boxes for the students to color in. So the first, you can see the categories, and we talked through all these categories, have posters for these and what all these words mean. So a lot of vocabulary words, but this is a great way for students just to keep organized with their jump roping skills and the activity that is asked of them. So the first one, like you see, is rope swing, and then double rope swing, and all that means is they're just swinging the rope on their side, just feeling that movement. And then double rope swing, they're putting the rope together, and it's just a double rope swing. We move on to this, I'm just showing you this, we move on to the partner short rope tricks and the long rope tricks, in 3rd grade. We can accomplish this in our 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade classes. The partner short rope trick obviously adds that another element of involving another person. So each individual has a jump rope, and as you can see in the first category, they're completing side by side, then they're completing alternate side by side, then they're completing opposite side by side, and all that language and all that lingo that is on their graphic organizer is also on the posters and the handouts that we go through prior to the unit starting. And then lastly, the long rope tricks, which are usually for our other, like I mentioned, upper elementary students. Those are more difficult tasks, but just a way for the students to organize them, and you can see they're organized in level 1, level 2, and level 3. These graphic organizers just that I presented in the short activity, or the short unit we did just 1 week. We just complete jump roping for a week. Great rhythmic activity, and it gets us right into progressing right into dance, actually. So next week we start dance. But again, the reason I like these graphic organizers is not just for the students to organize and learn about the content that we're implementing or the vocabulary that we're implementing, but more importantly, it's a way for them to assess themselves and see where they are, and they can move at their own pace. And then it's a way for the teachers to see where they are. Like I mentioned, Juliana is only on square 10. That's great. We get to know that, and when we hand them out again, maybe next year we hold on to the sheets, she can go right on to square 11. So it's just a great way to self-assess and for the teachers to assess theirs. As I mentioned earlier, this was a way for me to think out of the box as a physical education teacher and how to implement graphic organizers, and they're implemented obviously very differently in the classroom setting, but I think this activity and jump roping lends itself to still having the students learn text, learn different literacy and comprehension strategies, and really understanding what these words mean, because once they color in their backs, after they color in their backs, they get to move on to the next trick, and they need to know what that next trick is, and this is just a simple way to organize that and then have the posters with them. So that is just my comprehension strategy on how I implemented graphic organizers in physical education.